Hey, welcome back to A Sexy, Confident Life. I know that we got nothing fancy here for you people, but we are talking always about stuff that really matters on this podcast. And today I am so passionate about this topic of guilt. I hear it so often. It's the worst, right? I know that for some of you that deal with this ongoing feeling of guilt, depending on, why. A lot of people who have guilt, maybe it's the mom guilt, right? I've heard it a lot, I feel like I'm not doing enough, I'm not giving enough, I'm not caring enough, I'm not, being enough. And that's just really hard for hardworking moms, because I know your job ain't easy, right? And then we've got food guilt. Oh man, I can't believe I ate that. And I can't believe I did that with that, all last night. I totally mouthed those candy bars or whatnot. And there's all sorts of stuff. There's self-inflicted guilt on wanting more, wanting to be better. And those are just things that maybe you just desire in your life and you feel guilty about it. Guilt of past experiences. That's one of the things I hear most often, is things that happened not just a couple weeks ago, months, years ago, that people are still holding on to, inside. And that can drain us, right? But let me tell you that no matter what the guilt is that you might be holding on to or that you have, you're human. If you have a heart, a conscience, morals, you're going to feel guilt in your life. That's okay. And that's not what I'm here to try and diss. I'm not here to say, don't feel guilty, because that's impossible. Impossible, right? Like I said, if you have a heart, a conscience, and morals, you're going to feel guilt. And, and especially if you said something to someone that you regret, you did something that you're not proud of, you forgot an important birthday or anniversary, you left somebody out, right? Those are important to recognize, as if you feel guilty about that, well, good on you, because you weren't acting in the best of who you are, in the best of who you want to be. And so it's okay to feel guilty about stuff that happens. But I'm talking today about how you hold on, how long you hold on. That's the part that I want to help address today. And I want to share some things that have helped me in my journey through life. Because hell yes, have I felt guilty. Hell yes, have I made mistakes. Have I treated people inappropriately? Have I behaved like someone I never want to be, right? Then there's always that self-inflicted guilt from our own thoughts and our emotions and our behaviors. It's not that we did anything to anyone else, it's what's in our head, right? It's what we're feeling, it's how we're behaving. And those are even harder sometimes, because we tend to hold on to that a little bit longer, right? I don't know what it is, but if you've got stuff on you that, really is internal, it's just affecting you. Especially that stuff where it's like, like I was saying in the beginning, it's the stuff you don't feel like you're enough, or giving enough, or doing enough, or you're guilty about eating that food, or you're feeling guilty about wanting more in your life, or you're feeling guilty about the past. It's really important that we understand, and that you and I come to a common ground here today, that holding on to guilt for too long is going to completely drain our mental energy. It sucks the joy out of you. Whether you try to put on that happy face or not, it's going to suck the joy out of you. And trying to put on a happy face is going to drain you emotionally, because you're not really there in that full joy and that full presence, right? It's going to suck the life from your spirit. And I don't want that to be a continuation of anyone's life. Because if you're holding on to guilt, either from within, that self-inflicted kind of feeling, emotion, guilt of some of your own thoughts, emotions, or behavior, and you're dealing with that, and you're just not letting it go, or you did something to someone else or out externally, and you're just like, it's weighing on you, and you feel terrible about it, and you just can't let it go. I want you to remember these 3 questions, because they have totally helped me overcome a lot of that guilt that sometimes lingers too long in my life. And I want you to take out a pen if you can, because sometimes you might have to write these things down, get prepared, right? And make sure that you're feeling like, I can do this. I can take control. I can release this. If I ask myself these 3 questions, and maybe yours will change, maybe they're different. I want to give you mine, okay? If I'm holding on to guilt, because trust me, I've had fights with people. I've had arguments. I've behaved in ways I'm not proud of. You know, I think we all go through those things. I've done things that I'm not proud of, but those are in the past. And the only way to move forward into the future and to be fully joyful and feel fully alive and to let yourself free of that weight that sits on you when the guilt is there is I go through these 3 questions. Number 1, I plan for next time. So the question I ask myself is, how could I have done better? Or how could I have handled it better? Right? Ask yourself that question to plan for next time. You know, if you psychologically give yourself a plan, you can start to release what happened as a learning lesson. That you won't make that same mistake again, or you'll try not to make that same mistake again, so that next time things go better. I always have to ask myself when I'm feeling bad and I'm feeling guilty, I ask myself, what could I have done to handle that better? What could I have done to be better in that situation so that next time things go the way I want them to go? I behave the way I want to behave, right? Doesn't that give you a sense already of like, yeah, okay, let it go that it didn't go the way I wanted to, that I didn't do the things that I wanted to, and how will I plan for the future? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2 is, does this define me? Is this who I am at my core? So what I do is I either identify or unidentify with what I'm experiencing. Identify or unidentify, right? And I'm not a psychologist, guys. I'm telling you these realistic practices and high performance habits that I teach to my high performance clients and that I practice in my own life. Because if I did something I'm not proud of, or I feel a way inside because I just, I wish I had been different, or I wish I hadn't done that, or I wish I hadn't said that, or whatever it might be, I'm going to ask myself, does that define who I am? Is that really who I am at my core? Because if it is, I need to accept it instead of feeling guilty. So those of you that are feeling guilty about wanting more for your life, wanting more out of your relationships, wanting to make more money, wanting to go on vacation more, or whatever it is. Some people feel guilty about wanting stuff for themselves. But does that define who you are and what you really want at your core? If it is, do something about it. Don't feel guilty about it. Accept it into your life. But if it's something that you don't identify with and is not you at your core, then you need to unidentify and say, that is not who I am. I'm going to do better because I know that doesn't identify me. Sometimes guilt lingers in us because we question whether we are bad people or not, right? It's like, God, am I a terrible person? Am I the worst? No. You will be if you identify with it, but you have that choice. You can say, no, I'm not a resentful, angry person at my core. I don't want to be that person. I am not that person. So that wasn't me. That wasn't me. And that wasn't you. So you need to let it go because you're no longer going to identify with the behavior or the action that happened. You've got to release it unless you identify with it. You're like, yeah, I really am a terrible person. I like being hurtful. I like making people feel bad. But I guarantee that's not who you are. That's not who you want to be. So don't treat yourself as if you're questioning if that's you or not. Let that identification go. All right, that is number 2. That is so important. Because when I do that, especially if I've had a fight with someone or I've lashed out or I've just totally act irrational in a situation, I always ask myself, is that who I am? Is that really truly who I am? I say no. So that girl needs to learn what to do next time because that's not me. I love who I am. I accept me as who I truly am. Not as that person that lashed out, not as that person who behaved that way. I've got to accept that those moments will happen in my life. But if I can plan for the next time and plan to be better, I know I'll be me more often. I know I'll be authentically me to the core more often. And that's what matters moving forward. Not the past, not the mistake. The guilt's got to go. Otherwise, you continue to identify with the person that acted and behaved it in that way, right? The third thing is I ask, does it serve, right? Does holding on to this guilt serve me? Does it serve others? How is this helping you right now or for your future? Right? Just think about that for a moment. If you're feeling guilty about something right now, I want you to ask yourself, how is this serving me or the other people in my life in a positive way? Because isn't that our goal? I want to serve in a positive way. I want to make a positive impact. I want to help. I want to serve greatly, right? How does it serve you or others to carry around guilt? And if you can honestly answer that question, that I think I'm carrying it around because it serves me as a punishment so that I can learn a lesson and be a better person. Does that make any sense? I've heard people say that. They want to punish themselves. But that doesn't serve you. I'm sorry. Psychologically, no matter way you twist it, punishing yourself isn't serving. It isn't. If you want to serve yourself, you can forgive yourself. You can move forward in your life. You can do better in the next 3 minutes of your life, paying forward something kind, something beautiful. But holding on to the guilt to punish isn't serving. right? Again, we're all going to feel guilt. And I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. We've got to allow it to come in. You can't fight guilt. It's just not reality. You're going to feel it. But I'm talking about how long do you feel it? How long do you let it linger? How long do you let it drag you down? How often do you feel it? You feel guilty all the time? That's bad behavior. That's not mastering your mind or your emotions. That's allowing things to control too much of how you feel about yourself. That's not taking control of these things I'm talking about, is how you identify who you are, how you want to act, so having clarity in who you want to be and how you want to be, and what is going to serve you, right? We've got to think about that because, you know, a lot of people who have this guilt and their energy's drained and their spirits being sucked away and their mental fatigue because they're just like, oh, you don't serve your friends. You don't serve your family. They want to pull you out of it. They want to pull you right out of it and be like, where did you go? Come back. Stop it. They want you to snap out of it, right? This is heavy. This is a heavy topic. And some people might not want to hear what I have to say about this. And you might have a difference of opinion, and I'm open to it. Share it. Let's have this discussion, because truly, honestly, with all my heart, I believe that the sooner you can release, like you feel it, it comes into your body, it comes through your mind and your heart, the sooner you can let it flow through you and leave you, the better off you're going to serve in this world, the more joy you're going to bring to others and to yourself, the greater future you're going to create for your tomorrow. Because holding on to guilt only sucks all of that out of you. I don't know anybody that's ever told me that, yeah, I'm feeling really guilty about, you know, this incident that happens, and it's great. I love it. I love this. Said no one ever, right? So I want you to think about those three questions. Does it serve? Do I identify with this? How can I plan for next time? Right? Those three questions, I think that will be the game changer for a lot of people that are still just really trying to let go. It's so important that you do, because once you start to get used to that and start to kind of overcome the things that are happening in your life like this, because you know, it's not very frequent that you actually do something terrible, right? I mean, you're not ongoingly like hurting people or hurting yourself. It's like, no, it's just occasional. But for some reason, that once in a while activity or behavior can suck months from people. That one time. So don't let years or even months of your life be sucked away. Don't let any of the joyfulness and the happiness and the energy and the vitality of you be sucked away by this feeling of past experiences, past emotions, past behaviors. You have the power to let it go. And I hope you will. I hope today served you. And this principle is one that I truly believe I saved some of the best for last. And I hope you liked it. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.